The symphony of unmaking reached its crescendo. Across the vast key-weave, the pockets of dissonance I had created bloomed like dark, furious flowers on a canvas of serene harmony. On my main console, the map of the planar world was a testament to my genius. Pockets of static and discord proliferated, interrupting syndicate communication, forcing them to divert resources to reharmonize the chaos. It was a masterpiece of strategic sabotage, a direct and resounding challenge to Arden's perfect world. My redoubt, an island of furious defiance, hummed with a profound sense of control. This was the peak of my current offensive, but the crescendo was meant with a counter note. I sensed the shift first, a subtle, profound change in the syndicate's key signatures. The initial panic, the fractured confusion was gone. It was replaced by a cold, surgical focus. The listen's presence was no longer a distant, probing inquiry. It was a potent, assertive command, a resonant directive that cut through the chaos I had so carefully sown. Arden, having witnessed the systemic threat of my discordance, Weavers had given his architects a more forceful mandate: activate interception and disruption. Their tactics changed instantly. They were no longer simply trying to reharmonize the pockets of dissonance. They were hunting the source. I felt a renewed focus, a collective will that was no longer diffused, but was now pointed like a spear at the chaos itself. They were no longer reacting to my symphony. They were seeking composure. My sensors registered their approach. It was a precise, coordinated effort. They had isolated the signature of a single discordance weaver, one of the many I had deployed. They were converging on its location with terrifying speed. I felt the chill of foreboding, a prickle of cold paranoia that told me this was no random encounter. They had found a way to single out my creation. The climax of the engagement unfolded in an instant. A highly targeted harmonic pulse, a sonic arrow of pure harmony, shot through the chi weave and struck the discordance weaver. I felt its chaotic frequency stutter, its signal falter. Then, a specialized containment field, designed by a listener's self, no doubt, enveloped it. The chaotic hum of my creation was muted. It went silent. The connection to my grand symphony was severed. The sensation was a punch to my gut, a sudden, jarring defeat. I had been so focused on my offensive that I had not considered their capacity for adaptation. I had assumed my creations were disposable, but I had underestimated their desire to understand. Through my pervasive chi sense, I felt them take it. I felt Alyssa's meticulous intellectual touch as she and her team began to reverse engineer my creation. They were not just observing it, they were dissecting it. I felt their probing chi signatures, their mental dissection of my genius. This was the most profound vulnerability I'd ever experienced. They were not just learning about my technology, they were learning about my mind, my methods, the very essence of my existence. They were seeing the fusion of old world tech with new world chi, the source of my dissonant power. They were seeing the broken echo of my past, the very architecture of my defiance. Alyssa's thoughts, as I perceived them through the energetic exchange, were a torrent of scientific curiosity and profound understanding. It is not a random anomaly. It is a structured dissonance, a hybrid. The old world energy is a blueprint, and the planar chi is the medium. It has created a system to propagate its will. My cold, calculating resolve, my sanity's foundation, returned with a vengeance. I knew I had to change my plans. My redoubt was now compromised. The location was known, my methods were understood, and they were gaining a tactical advantage that would not be easily overcome. The time for static defense and artistic sabotage was over. I had to abandon the grand design of my current sanctuary. It was time to move. Nadine, initiate Protocol Omega. Begin core system shutdown and data wipe. Prepare the mobile sanctuary for departure. Reroute all remaining discordance weavers to self-destruct in the cascade sequence. They will not have another. This was not a rout. This was a strategic retreat. I had a new location in mind, a place I had been preparing for just such an eventuality. The grand design was about to be revealed, not as a stationary redoubt, but as a mobile, self-sustaining fugitive. I was abandoning this particular chessboard, but I was taking the game with me. The final moments of my redoubt were a symphony of power downs and data purges. consoles went dark. The hum of the core systems faded to a whisper. I stood in the silent, empty shell of my sanctuary, a true fugitive, a whisper in the chi weave, a rogue signal. The episode marked the end of my relative sanctuary, the beginning of a new, more dangerous, and more mobile phase of my journey. Part 2. The shadow grows and the pursuit begins. It reached its climax with Malachi, now a hunted fugitive, his greatest secret, the source of his discord, and now in the hands